Hey you, Maryam here, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Today we are doing another makeup for real life video focusing on fall makeup using all drugstore products. I heard you guys. You were the ones who turned it around on me and said, hey Maryam, if we're creating these makeup looks for every day, for the real life, we're not gonna necessarily reach for Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath. And I hear you loud and clear. I am with you. So for today's video, we are using all drugstore, all affordable makeup to create this look that will look good not only in the studio lights, but also in real light, outside, in the daylight, up close and personal, so that you can look your best in the real world. That is essentially what the series is about. I am very, very excited to create these. I love bringing these like makeup tutorials back to YouTube, but with my own twist to it, using modern day techniques and present day products. With that said, let's get into this video. Remember to subscribe if you aren't already. Hit that notification bell so you can see all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now let's get into this video. Makeup for real life using drugstore products. Fall makeup edition. Pumpkin spice vibes. My nails are already in fall tones. We have coffee vibes happening. If you do not follow me on Instagram, you are missing out. You are missing all of my nail tutorials that I do for myself, on myself, and post them for you guys. Now let's get into this makeup for real life video. So the first drugstore product that I'm gonna be using to create this fall look is of course my Essence My Skin Perfector Tinted Primer that I've been loving for a while now. I have no reason to put it down. It's a trusty one. It's a really good one, and I think it's a product that's good for all seasons, so all year round you can use this one. But hold on, we can't start the video without a cat hair in my nostril. So this is a primer that I love for smoothing my texture, for minimizing my pores, for giving my foundation a nice even layer to adhere to. And in the summertime, as opposed to fall, is when I even like to use this product alone with just some SPF, because it has a little bit of coverage, just like a hint of coverage. But some of the concerns that I find with my particular oily AF acne prone skin type is that when the weather changes from summer to fall, also from fall into winter in particular, is when I start breaking out, unfortunately. So I think last week is when we had our first significant weather change where it suddenly dropped at least like 10 degrees during the day in the highs. And that is when I broke out. So you could see my scars right here along my jawline, over here across my cheeks. And that's just what happens to me normally. So I always find that in the fall season, even in that transitional season, is when I reach for fuller coverage foundations, just because I personally need more coverage. So in order to look good in real life in this transitional fall season is when I like to reach for something like this CATRICE True Skin Hydrating Foundation with hyaluronic acid. This one, you guys know, I've talked about a lot. I love it. I've been using this one, I want to say, since it first came out back in the winter. It's just such a surprising, incredible formula, especially for my type of skin. An all-time favorite drugstore foundation of mine is absolutely the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. This one is a gem of a foundation. It feels extremely high-end and luxe. I could compare it to Pat McGrath with just a little bit more coverage, or like this new Lawless foundation that I've been loving. But this L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear has been around for longer, and it's just like the first of its kind, really lightweight, but great coverage foundation that I think everyone should have a bottle of. I've actually used this one in a lot of my videos, so today I'm gonna go for the CATRICE. The shade that I wear is 046 Neutral Toffee, and I think my skin is like officially back to its pale color, because you can still tell that my shoulders are pretty tan, but my face is no longer. I'm gonna add like a little squirt of that. And you don't actually have to do this in real life. You don't have to squirt the foundation onto your face. You can squirt it on the back of your hand, but I am very lazy. I don't like cleaning my hands. I don't like getting makeup on them, so this is why I squirt on my face. I'm gonna use this Lawless foundation, spread that across. It's just so right. Do you see how right this is? It covers everything quickly. It doesn't look like foundation. It doesn't look heavy at all. It's just very healthy, very radiant looking. I will say the finish is somewhat in between matte and natural, but it's definitely not luminous. So if you have any sort of texture concerns, if you have any acne breakouts, this would be a really good foundation for you. And I've always said that I find a correlation between foundations with hyaluronic acid and oily skin. For some reason, it's a really good combo for oily skin. You like how I have my pinky in my ear? Don't worry, my ears are clean. Okay, so I'm noticing this might be just a pinch too much for my forehead. So I'm just gonna clean off the brush and just like stipple in the rest of that foundation. Also, do keep in mind that if you have your foundation standing like this, upright for a long time, this is the kind of foundation that needs to be shaken because the consistency is pretty thick. It's on the creamy side. Just give it a good shake and then you're good to go. I mean, this is just so good. And because it's so inexpensive, I think it's like $11 or something like that, you can easily reach for this every day if you have to wear this to work. It looks glam enough for night. Chef's kiss. Okay, next, for the concealer, I have a few options that I really like from the drugstore that I still keep in my arsenal. The first one is the obvious. It's the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser for dark circles. This one is really good, really trusty, really solid, gives good coverage with the lightweight formulation. I really like the shade Neutralizer because it's a little bit yellow and it's paler, so it's nice to color correct as well as brighten. But I also keep the shade Doré, which is like a little bit more skin matching. From L'Oreal, I'm a big fan of the Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This one is really good. I would say it's a dupe to Tarte Shape Tape. And last but not least is the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer. This one is my third fave out of the three that I mentioned. I like it, but I don't like it as much as the first two, but a lot of people love this one. So today I'm gonna use it because I'm gonna give it another chance to like fall more in love with it. The shade that I'm wearing is Honey M300. And it's a nice peachy base brightening concealer. So for these makeup for real life videos, I really want to focus on the tutorial aspect, but I want to keep these tutorials somewhat current, somewhat modern, you know? So I want to use present day techniques and of course help you and help me look our best in real life, in real life situations. That's what I always say in these videos. And if you haven't seen my previous videos, I think this is my fourth one. So I'm finally starting to get like the hang of what I really want to say. So if you haven't checked out my previous ones, please do so. I think I'm at a point where I can actually make a playlist. So I will do that. So I'm just gonna let this concealer sit on my face for a sec. It's already done so. And then I'm gonna grab this Sephora concealer brush. I'm sorry, the brushes that I'm using today are not from the drugstore. But I will say that some of my favorite brushes from the drugstore are by Sonia Kashuk. You can get those in Target. There's pretty much a brush for any technique. And they've been around for a really long time. But outside of that, I'm not really picky with brushes. I think Morphe brushes are really good. Sigmas are really great as well. So this concealer is very full coverage, which is great. However, not everyone needs a super full coverage kind of concealer, especially for every day. So my suggestion is just use a little bit less and buff it out. Conceal only what you need. Don't start creating lines and shapes on your face. That's very 2016. And it also doesn't really look good in real life. But what I'm noticing with present day techniques is that we're really being methodical with our placement of concealer. Right now, the trends are to brighten, to cover, obviously, but also to lift everything. That's essentially what I'm doing with this concealer application. I'm making sure I'm just covering what needs to be covered, then I'm feathering everything out, and I'm kind of just lifting and making sure everything looks seamless. For powder today, I have a couple of options. Two options that I really like from the drugstore that I use all the time, and it is the PIXI H2O Skinveil powder in the shade Translucent. This one you've seen me use before. It is really microfine, like super fine. So fine that I'm almost a little afraid to open it because it's so feather light that the moment you blow on it, it kind of goes everywhere. But it does an incredible job of perfecting, smoothing, and setting. So I'm just gonna take a pinchy poo on my Charlotte T brush, like this much. Make sure there's no creases or crevices. And I'm gonna set that concealer in place, just like that. I'm also gonna bring that down to my pore zone, the side of my nose, and in between the brows. Kind of just flicking it upwards. I'm not using a lot of powder, just a little bit of powder to just absorb the little bit of shine that's seeping through from the foundation. Also a little bit on the chin, like that. And that to me, it looks really, really good. For the rest of my face, however, I'm not gonna use this. I feel like this is really good for just the T-zone, for the problematic areas, but then for the rest of my face, I don't wanna use something translucent. I wanna actually add a little bit of color. So I'm gonna go for this CoverGirl Clean Fresh pressed powder in the shade Tan. So what I do is I just press this big old brush. This one is from Bare Minerals and it is their Supreme Finisher brush. Just press that into the pan and then just kind of set the rest of the face. So you see how that just brings a little bit of life and a little bit of color to my complexion. So now it's making it a little bit more matching with the little bit of neck that you can see, but definitely a little bit more matchy with my shoulders. I just use these pressing motions, not swiping motions, because I really want to set this foundation in. Same thing with the forehead. Press that powder in, but don't go down to this area. I always find that bringing color in between the brows makes the brows a little heavier. And if you have strong brows like I do, then it can just weigh down your appearance. I'm not a fan. I don't like to add color to the eye area altogether. This is why I brighten in between the brows, I brighten around the eyes, around the nose, just so this area is nice and lit. Complexion is almost done, but I'm gonna step away from complexion for just a sec to do my brows. Yes, I'm gonna reach for my NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen because I love it. It's my favorite, not just from the drugstore, but from all of the makeup universe that is currently available to us. And for my brow gel today, I'm gonna reach for also NYX, but the brow glue. This has like a waxy consistency, so it's really great for spiking up the brows, give them like a nice PC feathery look, but it's also really good for actually gluing the brows together. So I'm gonna glue down the ends, I'm gonna spike out the front hairs. And guys, I film my Wednesdays videos on Mondays, and on Mondays, I'm just like a little bit disheveled. I feel like I'm still waking up from the weekend. Spiking them up, gluing them down, boom, bam. I'm gonna take the Lift and Snatch and just press this tail end down to glue it to the skin like that. And same thing here, just kind of roll it in place to create my shape. For me personally, I've tried different brow styles and I find that the natural groomed brow look is the best for me, and I always have to maintain some sort of an arch. If I don't, then I start getting that Spock brow look, and I know it's very trendy right now and a lot of people love that straight out lifted brow, but it just doesn't look good on me. So obviously with the NYX Lift and Snatch, I'm just filling in any sparse areas of my brow, adding some hair strands here in the front, adding some hair strands in the tail because that's where I really need some extra strands, and just filling in this brow, making sure everything is still glued down. Eyebrows are done. So now I'm gonna go back to the face and to the complexion. I am absolutely in love with this next bronzer that I'm about to show you. I'm talking about the Lip Bar Fresh Glow Bronzer and Blush Duo. Basically, it's a bronzer on top and it's a very luminous blush on the bottom. I actually don't love the blush. I really love the bronzer, but I keep this entire compact because the bronzer is that good. So now this bronzer kind of reminds me of one of the bronzer shades from my original PIXI collab palette, the Strobe and Bronze palette, if you remember that one. It had this really beautiful olive tone bronzer with microscopic flecks of gold, and this one reminds me of my own bronzer that I created in collab with PIXI, except this one has just like a bit more sparkles. So for that, I'm gonna reach for a really wide brush, this one from Laura Mercier. It's their powder brush. I'm gonna just dip the brush into the bronzer, start at the hairline, and basically just brush the skin and kind of just glaze it over with this bronzer. So now this shade is called Girls Talk, but the actual shade of the duo is called Girls Night. The Lip Bar is a great brand. I love their products. They're available in Target. So if you can get your hands on this particular bronzer, if you're like around my skin tone, you will love this one. So I'm kind of just hugging the cheekbone, adding just a little bit of that. Actually, that's more than a little. I promise you, it'll still look good in real life. I like to add this one across the nose as well. This is a great bronzer. Highly recommend. And already the complexion is just a little bit more cozy. It's coming together. Okay, for blush, I know a lot of people are really into cream blushes, and I've tried a lot from the drugstore, and I gotta say, I really only like one of them. Is a balmy type blush, and it is from PIXI. It is their On the Glow blush that looks like deodorant, and this is absolutely my favorite shade. Ah, shit. Oh God, I hate when I get makeup on my clothes. nose. Anyway, you get a lot of product for your money. The formula is really forgiving. It wears really well. Basically, I love it. Now, I still don't love it nearly as much as I love my powder blushes because I'm just a powder blush person. But I will tell you my other favorite, and it is actually the Blush Balm from Flower Beauty by Drew Barrymore. This blush is amazing. It is so extremely pigmented. I think this is like $11 or $10 for one of these tubes. And let me tell you, you will probably hold on to this for, I don't want to say for how long, but basically for a very long time, because a little bit, a tiny bit goes a long way with this blush. I'm not gonna apply that one on because, like I said, I really want to look my best, and I've already set my face with powder, so I'm not gonna apply cream to my powder. Instead, I'm gonna reach for my favorite drugstore powder blush, and it is from MILANI. So now this is called the Rose Powder Blush. It comes in many, many shades. Gorgeous formula, gorgeous packaging, obviously makes me feel luxe and rich and girly and flirty and all those good things. So this is what I'm gonna reach for today. I'm going for the shade Romantic Rose using my Heavenly Luxe French Boutique blush brush from IT Cosmetics, just like stamping that to my cheek. I find that powder blush is just a little bit easier than cream blush. It's easier to layer, and it's easier to get the desired look that you want. So right now I'm kind of going for the all over blush look, which to me looks very youthful and just very fresh. So for that, I like to use a big fluffy brush. An angled one helps. And I kind of just stamp that to the apples of my cheeks, and then a little bit underneath the eyes, and then a little bit into the temple. So basically the most pigment is at the center, and then it's kind of feathered out like that. Okay, I'm gonna touch on highlighter a little bit later in the video, but for now, I wanna talk about fall colors and I wanna talk about eyeshadow palettes. Although I don't have any favorite eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore per se, I will say that my affordable eyeshadow palettes are definitely from the brand called ColourPop. ColourPop has some really good, affordable eyeshadow palettes with beautiful color compilations, and they are relatively very affordable. So I've picked out just a few of ColourPop's eyeshadow palettes that remind me of fall colors. One of them is the Hola Chola, and it's a collab between Becky G and ColourPop. This is an all matte palette, and the colors are just so beautifully autumn appropriate. I love this palette so much. It is probably one of ColourPop's best collabs, in my opinion, and especially for those of you who love matte shadows, this is amazing. Another fall appropriate palette is ColourPop X Mulan. I do have a video on this. This is a little bit more fall into holiday season, like think Thanksgiving, Christmas, not like your September fall fashion, but definitely more into the October, November months. Still very gorgeous, very warm colors, and that is kind of what distinguishes the fall season. It's these rich browns, it's these mahogany colors, these wine tones, plummy shades, of course the oranges and the ochres, and all of those beautiful tan shades. Basically what you see in nature. Another fall appropriate palette is the Hocus Pocus X ColourPop. Has some beautiful olive shades that I really love. The Bare Necessities palette is one of my absolute favorites. It's just like warm, cozy colors in a palette. The palette I'm thinking of using for today is actually the latest palette from ColourPop, and it's called Lust for Dust. Not Lust for Dust. Lust for Dusk. And this one I would say is probably more of a transitional summer into fall color family type of palette. So here you see some mauve tones, some purple plummy tones, definitely some richer, warmer browns, also some beautiful bronze shades. So these can definitely easily be worn in the fall season as well as in September. So this is what we're gonna be working with today. I will say one thing I forgot to pack into my tray here is actually an eyeshadow primer. Why? Because I don't really have a favorite one from the drugstore. I don't know, I just haven't found the one for me. So what I'm gonna do instead, and it's actually gonna be very helpful for the look that I'm going for, I'm gonna go for this Morphe 2 I Wish Shadow Stick and Sharpener in the shade Come True. Basically this is a brown shade that I'm going to use to line my lid from corner to corner, kind of get in close to my lashes, like that. A little bit past the crease, connect to the outer lower lash line, and then I'm gonna take a stiff brush. This one is Laura Mercier Eye Crease Brush, and I'm gonna smooth out those edges and basically just buff out this color, like that. So if you couldn't already tell, today I'm going for a fall smoky eye look that honestly is one of my favorite looks. It's super versatile, super easy to put together. You don't have to be a makeup artist to do it either, but it does look really good in real life and for any occasion. I'm gonna show you how I do mine. If you wanna go for a metallic eye, then you could use a metallic pencil as a base, or you don't even have to, you could still use a brown, just like that. And that already is a look in itself. You see it, right? Okay, next, I'm gonna reach for my Lust for Dusk, not Dust, although there are some dusty shades in here, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna grab a flat brush. This one is from Morphe. Go for this deep shade here that's called That's Neat. It's basically a chocolate brown matte eyeshadow with some silver sparkles. Probably not gonna see the silver sparkles, but whatever. I'm gonna start stamping that onto the lid, starting from the inner corner, outer corner, like that. I'm gonna take the previous brush and blend the edges. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm darkening my lid right now, giving it those smoky vibes. So first just packing it on and kind of just spreading it and then just blending the edge. Easy. Mario E3 brush. I'm gonna go for this much lighter shade here, this one called After Dark. And I'm gonna bring that into my crease just for some warmth, for that coziness, and for that spice. Big, clean, fluffy brush. Clean up the brow bone. So now with a smoky eye, you can make it as big or as contained as you want. For this transitional fall season, I want to keep it a little bit contained, so like smaller than, say, your traditional smoky eye. So I'm not really bringing the smokiness too much past the crease. Keeping all the color on the lid, and then I'm just gonna erase and clean up any of that additional smoke. As always, if you erase too much, you can always go back, add a bit more color. Also, I'm gonna seal in that lower lash line with that same reddish brown shade, After Dark. And basically that's it. That is super, super simple and easy. However, I will add one more thing. You know how I said that ColourPop has some of the best affordable eyeshadows and some of the best color compilations? I also should mention that their Super Shock shadows are so good for what I'm about to do for this next step. I'm gonna reach for the shade called Secret Garden. And this to me looks like a very sparkly but bronzy shade. You could probably wear all year round, but it's great for the fall season. I'm gonna take that on my finger and I'm gonna add that to the center of the lid just to make this lid pop, just to make it even more sultry, even more interesting. See how I'm only adding that to the center and not really anywhere else? That's gonna give the eye dimension. It's gonna give it that sparkle. And no, you absolutely do not have to do this for every day. This is just something that you can do just to feel a little bit more in the spirit, you know? I definitely feel like it dresses up the eye and it makes the look more interesting. And for some reason, whenever we get into the fall season, that's when I want to be more festive, because I'm personally not a huge fan of fall because I do not like cold weather, but being a little bit more festive with my makeup and with my outfits kind of helps me get through the moment. So that's why I do it. A little bit of sparkle fallout here, but that's no biggie. Just brushing them off. Okay, so you could leave it at that, or you could add a little liner. I'm gonna go for Maybelline Tattoo Studio Smoky Gel Liner. I'm gonna add that to the waterline just for extra bit of sass. So kind of like that. I'm gonna reach for a little flat brush. This one's for Blind Crime. And just push that eyeshadow into the lash line to prevent that liner from bleeding. Like that. Next, lashes. I'm gonna curl mine. And for my mascara today, I'm gonna reach for one or the other. Either the Wet n Wild Big Papa or the Essence Lash Princess Waterproof. Both of these are amazing formulas. They have great non-gimmicky wands that I really like. And honestly, these mascaras are so good. They rival any and most high-end luxury mascaras. So I'm just gonna use the Essence Lash Princess, just because I think it's newer. And the newer the mascara, the better it is. Okay, mascara is on. You could go for falsies. Lately, I've been using this Kiss Magnetic Lashes and Liner Kit. Lashes in the style Tempt. As you can see here, I have them cut in half. These look very natural. They're very wispy. So if you want to just add a little bit of a lash, I would recommend something like this. It's also from the drugstore. You can get it pretty much anywhere at Ulta, at Target, Walmart, at Walgreens. I literally have like backups of the style because I love that one so much. But anyway, today I don't think I'm gonna go for lashes because I really don't want to line the eye. I think this very wearable type of smoky eye looks really good on its own without any liner. Next, I want to talk about some of my favorite fall lip colors using products from the drugstore. So this here in particular, I have been obsessing over these Maybelline Lifter glosses. These are stunning. The formula is really, really rich, makes the lips look like candy. This shade right here, I have not yet worn, but I feel like this one would be a really, really nice shade for the fall. It's called Ruby, and it has just like this beautiful amber sparkle, but it's not glittery whatsoever. It just has these like micro fine sparkles that add to the color of your lips, also to the volume and to the glaze. So I love this one. I think you already know the shade Moon. I wear all the time, pretty much every day. This one like lives in my permanent makeup bag. But this is really nice for fall. I think this is a contender. Also for fall, I like to reach for these powdery type of lipsticks, and I found a dupe to the MAC Powder Kiss lipstick, you know, the very popular, almost K-beauty looking one. And this one actually comes from a K-beauty brand, JOAH Cosmetics, and it's called their Air Light lipstick. This shade right here, Sunrise, is like that perfect My Lips or Better type of color. So another contender for the fall season. If you're looking for like more mauve-y, more ruby tones, more wine tones. But I will say that in the fall, I also like to reach for deeper nudes, such as this shade right here. This is super duper pretty, and oh my god, it actually looks like a shade that's close to my shoulder, and it looks really nice with this eye makeup. So this is another contender, also from JOAH, and this one is called Sunbum. Just like a beautiful pigmented gloss that's not too glossy, almost like if a melted lipstick and a lip gloss had a baby. This is what the consistency of this gloss is. Gorgeous shade, another contender. If you're into orangey tones, may I suggest the NYX Lingerie Double XL Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Peach Flirt. Now this one is like a darker peach, you see, so it's perfect for that transitional weather. Loving these ColourPop Fresh Kiss lippies. Lots of options to choose from. I think for today, I'm gonna go for this. This just feels really right to me. My absolute favorite lip liner from the drugstore is of course from NYX, and it is the shade Soft Brown. I've been using this one for years. I have so many backups of this because it is a solid good shade, and I think it's perfect for this next shade. Like the perfect match. Ooh, now this is a color combo that I can tell if I were to post a selfie on my IG stories, I would get tons of DMs of people asking me what I'm wearing on my lips. I can almost predict these things now. Damn, this look turned out better than I even envisioned. And that makes me feel so amazing and so happy. Okay, for the highlighter, I'm gonna go for my favorite. This one is from MILANI, and it is the Champagne Doro. I don't even have to look on the back. This Champagne Doro basically lives on my makeup table in my makeup room because I love this one so much. It's so beautiful. It's so flattering. It's just like the perfect, not too yellow and not too orange type of gold. It gives just the most perfect pop to your cheekbones, to your forehead, to your chin, to your nose, wherever you want to glow. And I also like to grab a little bit on a pencil brush. This one is Laura Lee Los Angeles L16 brush. And basically I dab that to my inner corner, and this ties everything together. Also to the brow arch. Brings a little bit of glamour to this look. So good. So good. Are we feeling it? I'm definitely feeling it, and I guarantee you this is the kind of look that makes me feel so super confident in my skin, makes me feel like I'm dressed up without being overly dressed up, makes me feel confident that when I step outside of these studio lights and into the real world, I know that my face, my skin, my makeup will look really good in real light. So without further ado, let me actually show you what it looks like in real light. And let's step outside. All right, we are back in the studio, and I gotta say, this has to be one of my favorite recent looks that I've put together. It just feels very universal, but at the same time, it feels very me for me. I love that. I hope I was able to translate that in this video. I hope you learned a lot from this video, or even if you didn't learn a lot, I hope you enjoyed yourself. So with that said, I am going to zoom on out so that you can check out more videos over here. Click on them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah!